Why is public speaking important? Recently I saw a great leader, somebody that people look up to. He's a lawyer. He is a really good speaker. But unfortunately, when he was giving his presentation, he lost the room because he was so focused on delivering his content, regardless of how the audience was responding to him. When it comes to being a great public speaker, a lot of things need to fall into place. I have a bunch of actionable tips today that you're going to be excited to learn about and how you can implement them, because to be a great public speaker, it is important in order to have influence, in order to help other people, in order to sell your ideas and concepts for helping the world, and especially for individuals one at a time. My name is Jason Hewlett. I'm a Hall of Fame speaker. I'm excited to take you through this. Thanks for joining me. Let's talk about the importance of diving into public speaking and why it's important to become really great at it. Some of the greatest leaders in the history of the world have taken the time to become better speakers. A majority of people are not born with this skill, and so you can become great at it if you're willing to practice. So number one, let's talk about building influence and credibility. When I think of some of the great speeches of all time, and I want you to think about some that you've heard as well. For example, we could all think of Martin Luther King, right? I have a dream. That speech, what if he'd have just said, and we've made jokes about this in the past, right? I have a goal. Like, it's not strong enough, is it? So he actually was able to help an entire people and a whole generation of people think, what is my dream? And my dream needs to be the same as Martin Luther King's. He inspired a lot of people because of his powerful way of speaking. Then there was Barack Obama. Before he was president, he had to address the Democratic Convention. And at that convention, he started to put into their minds the idea that yes, we can. Yes, we can change. Yes, we can progress. And it's one of the greatest slogans in the history of speaking, because he made everyone think that yes, all of us together, we can do it. And he became their guy and eventually the president of the United States. One of the most powerful declarations in the history of mankind is when Ronald Reagan was sitting with Mikhail Gorbachev, and he said to him, tear down this wall. Yes, he was talking about not only the wall that was physically there, but also the Cold War that existed between the Soviet Union and the United States. And so what happened there was he had to state something so emphatically, even though he was known quite generally as a fun, loving president of the United States, Ronald Reagan had the courage and the in order to stand and say, hey, you need to tear down this wall. We're not going to take no for an answer. And it changed the world. Let's talk about fostering connection and engagement. When I think about this, we have to go to one of my favorite late night TV show hosts. His name is Conan O'Brien. If you're not familiar with him, you can look him up on YouTube. He is the ultimate self-deprecation artist. And here's what he does so well. He helps the audience feel engaged with him. He makes fun of himself. And there's not a necessary reason for you to have to do this, but that's become for him his signature move. And so as you discover what it is that helps you engage with an audience, that's how you can use yours. For example, with Martin Luther King, whom I shared about previously, Martin Luther King had a way of making everyone feel included and aspirational, with his voice getting bigger and stronger and higher. But then there was Conan O'Brien. He uses comedy in order to make it so that people laugh and feel connected to him. What's your way of engagement? Now let's talk about driving change and inspiring action. Now, if you want to be a great public speaker, and why it's important is because when you want to change something in your business or change the way something is happening and action needs to happen, you need to be able to sell it. And as a speaker, having that conviction in your voice, having the inspiring words that need to be heard by the people you're leading needs to come through. I want to tell you about the greatest speaker I know in the whole world. And I've shared about him a little bit on some of the other videos on this channel. But the greatest living speaker, in my opinion, his name is John Hewlett. And yeah, he's my dad. Now, why would I share about my dad? Well, I grew up listening to him speak. I grew up being motivated by the greatest motivator I can even think to share with you. Why do I share about John Hewlett? Because he's also the founder of a great company called Cardio Miracle. Cardio Miracle helps with your heart health, and it's a wonderful product that you mix in a drink. Now, he started this when he was in his early 60s. He's now in his 70s. It's a multi-million-dollar company, and it's because he's so inspiring, but also the product is awesome. When there have had to be big changes in the company, or the product had to change, the formula had to be shifted, or a customer was really upset. What's interesting about my dad is that he would make a video and send it to the people. The next thing we knew, sales were coming in like crazy because he's so convicted in terms of what he's selling. He absolutely believes in it, and he makes you want to not only buy it, but drink it and sell it yourself. And so I have to say, he is the best living speaker that I can ever share an example of. And it's because he can make you feel a way to change. He can help you change your actions just by his conviction. And so I hope you'll look up my dad, John Hewlett, at cardiomiracle.com. Let's talk about amplifying leadership impact. When it comes to having the opportunity to speak, maybe you don't have that many chances. So you need to set that up for yourself. Whether it means making a video or having a live stream, maybe you just set up an event where people come and listen to you create and share and expound upon your ideas. It's important to have the opportunity to share what you believe and to make sure that you're sharing it all the time. But you need to amplify that. Enhancing career opportunities. What happens when you're a good speaker is that regardless of your education or your background or where you come from, you'll get opportunities to progress in your career in a different way than most people will ever have the opportunity. And here's why. I can tell you honestly that I got education as a high school kid, and that was where it ended. And that's okay. What's interesting to me about that is that now I speak at universities and teach speakers how to speak. I think that that's an interesting thing in the fact that when you become a better speaker, you have opportunities that may not seem like they're a normal thing when you're young, thinking, well, I have to have a degree in order to do something significant. Opportunities are open to you when you learn public speaking, as well as the ability to influence others. I don't have a degree. I don't know if that means you want to now turn off this video, but I do want you to think about it for yourself. How have you found your gifts, your talents, your strengths? Because you have them, but it takes utilizing every opportunity to learn and to grow and to be better. And so, regardless of your education, you're watching this video right now. I applaud you for doing that. That's part of this. Practice, do something you want to be great at, and yes, you can make it happen as well. Becoming a public speaker is also important because it helps you overcome fear and creates confidence in yourself. When we keep promises to ourselves to better ourselves at something in particular, a skill, something that we say to ourselves, well, I'm not sure if I'm good at that. Well, if you make a promise to become better at it, that will create confidence in yourself, and that will help you overcome the fear of it. A lot of people are scared of public speaking. All you truly have to do is begin. Put yourself out there, stand on a stage, go for it, and that will help you create confidence quickly. So let's talk about showcasing expertise and thought leadership. If you've ever watched a TED Talk, you know that not all of those people are public speakers or known as paid speakers. A lot of them are just sharing their thoughts, and what's cool about it is that sharing our thoughts allows us to have greater influence. And so when you have something you want to say, schedule the opportunity. Maybe you won't get a TED Talk. I can be candid with you and say, I've never done a TED Talk, but I can say that I've helped a lot of people write their TED Talks. It's been a fun thing. And yet I get paid a lot more than most people that have ever done TED Talks when I go out and speak. And so what I find interesting about that is that every single one of us, if we have a thought and we want to be in thought leadership, all we have to do is start to write, record, and get ourselves on a stage. Another reason why public speaking is important is because it refines our communication skills. You see, what I'm doing right here as I'm recording this, I'm not just speaking to you, although, yeah, that's happening, but look at my face, look at my actions. My hands are into this. I'm not standing with my hands in my pockets and twisting back and forth and kind of, pretending like I know what I'm talking about. I am all in with you. I know you're all in with me, and I appreciate that. Communication is not just what we say, but it's also in our voice, in our energy, in our eye contact, right? And obviously what we say. But think of your communication skills. How are you improving them every day? It's not just what you say, it's in the entire person. Expanding networks and opportunities is also something really great about public speaking and why it's important. You see, when you go and do those types of mixers or social events, being able to walk up to somebody and talk with them is obviously an important part of that. So put yourself in opportunities and places where you can do that and to engage and network with other people. Let them know you're interested in public speaking, and they might say, oh, well, I don't know anyone who likes to speak. We'd love to have you come and speak at our event. That's a cool way to get a gig. Finally, empowering personal growth and development. I don't know what can help you grow quicker than saying, I want to become a better public speaker. There's a lot of people that would never take the risk. They won't go for it. And yet they'll do things in private, like working out or reading a book and doing great things that are improving themselves. But here's what I want you to think about. What is your personal development like? How are you making yourself better every single day? Working on public speaking and why it's important, I've given you a bunch of tips here today. I hope it's been helpful and hope that as you think about it for yourself, that you'll commit to doing at least one of these that I've talked about. So what I want you to do is put in the comments, if you will, which one you promise to do in order to become better at public speaking, because it truly is so important. And I'm excited for you to not only set the goal, but to make the promise to continue to work on your public speaking because it's just that important.